Hello, my name is Tempest, and I'm an agent of the TVA. I've been sent here because there have been a number of disturbances in the sacred timeline. Disturbances very specifically relating to Royal Rumbles and people who were meant to win them. As history passes and infinite possibilities are created across our multiverse each day, sometimes we have these variants who will wander from their assigned paths that would have seen them win the Royal Rumble. Some may have never been in the right place at the right time, others were a victim of booking malpractice and managerial negligence, but the one thing the following 10 variants have in common is they should all have won the WWE Royal Rumble. Let's get ready to clean up the sacred timeline! Sorry to steal your bit, Adam. I'm Tempest, hailing from the TVA, I mean partsFUNknown, and these are 10 stars that should have won the WWE Royal Rumble, but never did. Do you want to keep your place on the sacred timeline? Well, you better subscribe to partsFUNknown, or I'll prune ya. You don't want that. Trust me, there's a big smoke monster over there. If you haven't seen Loki, go watch Loki, it's great. Number 10, Andre the Giant. This list will be taken in a few directions over the next 8 to 12 minutes. I don't know how much time is left, I'm merely writing a script. However, a few of the names chosen have been chosen to help give the legacy of the Royal Rumble a boost. Having a long lineage of impressive winners is important to a match like this, and the Rumble accomplishes this better than most. I mean, the phrase Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner Mojo Rawley doesn't exactly light a fire in my loins. Now with that in mind, why did Andre the Giant, the king of the Battle Royal, not win one of the most royalist of Rumbles? I have a lot of love for Jim Duggan, don't get me wrong, but it is hard to argue that the sentence, winner of the first ever Royal Rumble, ... wouldn't sound better with Andre the Giant at the end of it. The first Royal Rumble didn't play into the plans for WrestleMania 4 whatsoever, but that doesn't mean they couldn't have. Have Andre win the match just 2 weeks ahead of him winning the WWF title in the whole double Hebner schmoz, and tell me this match wouldn't be more memorable for it. Number 9, CM Punk. Given how popular and influential CM Punk was from 2011 to 2014, it does seem rather blasphemous that he didn't manage to win the Royal Rumble match or main event WrestleMania during that time. Sure, he was WWE champion at the time of the Rumble event in 2012 and 2013, but still, book something else, find a way. Anyone but Daniel Bryan winning the Royal Rumble in 2014 would have likely been a tough sell for that crowd in Pittsburgh, but maybe I'm crazy for thinking CM Punk would have been a more welcome second choice than Mr. Hinks over here. What's even crazier to ponder, though, is that CM Punk would have been a more than fitting choice to win the Royal Rumble earlier as well. As the leader of the Straight Edge Society, Punk was the best working heel in WWE from 2009 to 2010, and was incredibly underutilized at the time. As he said in his Best in the World DVD, the best good guy should fight the best bad guy at the biggest show of the year, and you could easily make the argument that Punk qualified for much of his career. Should've won the Rumble. What a robbery. Number 8, The Ultimate Warrior. Now, I will not be the one to sing the praises of the Ultimate Warrior, but if I'm booking the Royal Rumble in 1990 and I'm handed the notepad that says WrestleMania 6, Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior, my immediate thoughts are not, hey, WWF champion Hulk Hogan really needs to win the Royal Rumble. The 1990 Rumble is a good one, in no small part to the intense stare down between these impending Mania main event mountainous men. However, whereas Hogan gets the better of the exchange and eventually wins the match, I propose that Warrior should have been the final man standing. The Royal Rumble may not have had the win a one-way trip to WrestleMania and also here's your complimentary title shot stipulation added just yet, but I don't know, having your top contender win a huge match before challenging for the WWF Championship sounds like a solid piece of booking regardless of what era it takes place in. Number 7, Eddie Guerrero. It remains truly remarkable just how big of an impression Eddie Guerrero made on the lives of so many fans who watched him. There's a whole generation of current talent that have come up idolizing Eddie Guerrero, and for good reason. The man was a generational talent, by all accounts a wonderful human, and a proper icon in pro wrestling. With regards to this list, it would simply mean more to scroll through Wikipedia on the list of Royal Rumble winners and see Eddie Guerrero's name. There is a slight issue as to when this should happen, as Eddie's main event run really only came at the tail end of his career, but if this is a fantasy world where we get to access the fabric of reality and warp all Royal Rumble happenings to our whim, I don't know, just book him better as a main event talent from the start and bada bing bada boom, problem solved. You can surely find a year in which one of the best wrestlers of all time can make a go for the title at WrestleMania. Number 6, Kofi Kingston. It was booked by Adam Blampier himself once upon a time, so you know it has his seal of approval. Straight up, the conclusion and follow-up, or lack thereof, to Kofi Kingston's WWE Championship reign remains one of the most disheartening things I've ever witnessed as a wrestling fan. I know it, you know it, your mom knows it, Nathan, your boss at Starbucks, knows it. They did my boy Kofi dirty. The easy way to remedy this? By having Kofi Kingston win the 2020 Royal Rumble. Now at the same time, yes, I like Drew McIntyre a lot and don't want to advocate for time travels to go back and take away his moment, but for the purposes of this list and Kofi Kingston's place on it, 2020 is when this needs to happen. In theory, Kofi Kingston losing to Brock Lesnar in 8 seconds could be an intriguing story if that is then used to propel Kofi's own personal battle, motivating him to win the Rumble and reclaim his title at WrestleMania. A Rumble win would have given Kofi the momentum to remain a main event talent after that 8-second nightmare, and think how happy it would have made everyone. People love Kofi Kingston. Number 5, Randy Savage. Randy Savage, brother of Fred, is among the first 5 or 6 names an older casual fan might recall from WWE's big boom period of the 80s. In many ways, he was the number 2 star in the company behind Hulk Hogan, even if people like the Ultimate Warrior were being pushed ahead of him. Randy Savage, cousin of Rick, should have won the Royal Rumble in place of Yokozuna, and that is a hill I will die on. Not only would it have meant that Randy Savage, inspiration for Vandal, versus Bret Hart would have been added to a WrestleMania card that was crawling through the Nevada desert in search for a decent match, but it would have allowed Bret to have a classic coronation as the next guy, something that was sorely needed after winning the title from Ric Flair at a house show and then defending it against then mid-carders Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon. Not only that, but being able to include Randy Savage, line made of Reggie, in WWE's annual By the Numbers video would be pretty swell, and it would erase the dumbest Royal Rumble finish in history from existence. We're really cleaning up the timeline today. Number 4, Chris Jericho. If you want to talk about timelines and the various ripple effects and branches created by one small decision in wrestling, I want you to ponder this. Chris Jericho at one point was penciled in to win the 2017 Royal Rumble and main event WrestleMania 33 against Kevin Owens. That plan changed. Instead, Randy Orton won the Rumble and Owens and Jericho went on second at WrestleMania, ultimately being a big reason for Jericho's departure from WWE. In his absence, Jericho faces Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom 12, doing big numbers for New Japan Pro Wrestling and putting the idea in Tony Khan's mind that there is an audience for a wrestling alternative to WWE. 1 year later, All Elite Wrestling was launched with Chris Jericho as a major player, and they've been off to the races ever since. Does All Elite Wrestling exist if Chris Jericho simply wins the Royal Rumble in 2017? Would the entirety of the wrestling business have changed so vociferously if Vinnie Mac had just let Jericho carve his name into the slab of granite that lists every Royal Rumble winner? It exists at Titan Towers, I've seen it. We'll never know. I mean, I know, because I'm from the TVA. But you? No, you'll never know. Number 3, Daniel Bryan. I mean, obviously, right? Like, we've all been on our own separate but collective emotional journeys as a result of Daniel Bryan not winning the Royal Rumble in 2014, and then again in 2015, and it goes without saying that he definitely should have won one, if not both of those matches. However, for the sake of sprucing things up, because a few of these entries have been covered by Adam in his list of 10 times WWE got the Royal Rumble wrong, allow me to say that WWE missing the boat on Daniel Bryan's return from retirement is as sinful and as baffling as either the 2014 or 2015 Royal Rumbles. Daniel Bryan, returning hero of the people, had to turn heel to be booked well. Goodness me. You had 3 chances to finally give Daniel Bryan the Royal Rumble win he had been destined for following his return. Again, some of these are tough because I have nothing wrong with Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, or Edge winning the Royal Rumbles in 2019, 2020, and 2021, but Daniel Bryan having never won the Royal Rumble just does not sit right in my jellies. And again, if you don't want to pick any of those 3 years, just have him win when he was supposed to, you absolute bowling balls. Number 2, Christian. This might be a controversial one. It might not. I don't know. I don't really ever see this opinion get aggressively typed and shouted into the big blue bird box that is Twitter, but hell, Christian is brilliant and he should have won the Royal Rumble. More specifically, he should have won the Royal Rumble in 2011. At the time, Christian was recovering from a torn pectoral and eventually made his return at Elimination Chamber 3 weeks later. It is possible that he hadn't recovered at the time, and if that's the case, fair play to them, but my guess is he could have done it. Christian never truly busted through the glass ceiling of WWE's incredibly crowded greenhouse prison, but a Royal Rumble win would certainly have gone a long way towards making that happen. It would have been the perfect time to pull the trigger on the most hideous Canadian, Vince McMahon's thoughts, not mine, as Edge was World Heavyweight Champion at the time, and seeing Edge and Christian battle over the big gold belt at a WrestleMania would have legitimately made my heart emit an angelic chorus. Edge even used the kill switch to beat Dolph Ziggler on this show. It's like this was the plan, but they just didn't do it. And finally, if Christian won the Royal Rumble in 2011, that would mean the match wouldn't have been won by a colossal piece of shit. This is the ultimate timeline, trust me. And number 1, Kurt Angle. Some careers are made by having won the Royal Rumble. In this case, the Royal Rumble is worse off because Kurt Angle didn't win it. Despite being one of the best to ever pull down a singlet strap, put it back on, and pull it down again, the Royal Rumble match barely played a role in Angle's career. He was the runner-up in 2002 and was in the final 3 in 2004, but otherwise the Rumble was simply a WWE accomplishment that passed Angle by. He was often champion in January, missing the Rumble match in 2001, 2003, and 2006, so finding a year to slot him into becomes a little bit more difficult, but I can close my eyes and envision his goofy ass celebrating the Royal Rumble match, and it is glorious. So here's what I propose. Kurt Angle wins the 2004 Royal Rumble match in place of Chris Benoit. Angle would go on to wrestle Eddie Guerrero for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 20 anyway, and honestly, it would make the 04 Rumble about 10,000% more watchable. I don't really have a fun way to end this now, so here's a picture I took with Kurt Angle in dual cowboy hats in 2019. I feel like a real cowboy. Yippee-ki-yay. And that's our list. Make sure, of course, that you like and share this video and subscribe to partsFUNknown for more corrections to the sacred timeline just like this one. For all time, always.